Am I the a-hole for calling my sister a narcissist after she stole my baby's name for her newborn? I am a 34-year-old female who recently had my first baby, a son named Caden. I've always loved the name, and it was something I picked out years ago, long before I even met my husband, Derek, 36 male. It had special meaning to me. It was the name of my favorite cousin who passed away when I was younger. We had talked about names for months before making the final decision, and we were both so excited to finally settle on Caden. Now, my sister, Delilah, 32 female, and I have never exactly been close. We're family, but she's always been, well, a bit self-centered. We have different lives, and honestly, we just never really meshed. But still, I've always tried to be there for her when it mattered. She has 2 kids already, a daughter named Avery and a son named Elijah. And while I don't agree with some of her parenting choices, I've never said anything to her about it. But then the baby name drama started. A few weeks ago, Delilah announced that she was pregnant with her 3rd child. I was surprised, but happy for her. I thought it was nice she was expanding her family, and I congratulated her like a good sister should. A few days later, she called me up to tell me something big. Naturally, I assumed it was about the gender reveal or maybe the name, because that's how it always goes, right? Delilah, hey, I just wanted to tell you, Derek and I were thinking about names, and I think we finally decided on one. Delilah, we're thinking of naming him Caden. I kid you not, my heart dropped to my stomach. I was stunned. I stared at my phone for a minute before I could even process the words. I finally choked out a response. Me. Wait, what? Delilah. Yeah, I've always liked the name, and it just feels right, Me. Trying to stay calm. But, that's the name of my baby. I've been planning on naming my son Caden for months. Delilah. Yeah, but it's just such a great name. It fits so well with Elijah, don't you think? I was genuinely floored. Sure, you can like a name, but to pick the exact name I'd already chosen for my son, the one I'd emotionally connected with for years, it felt like a slap in the face. And it wasn't like Delilah hadn't known about the name already. I'd mentioned it multiple times to her and the family. She'd even commented positively on it months ago. Me, I don't know. Delilah, I kind of feel like that's crossing a line. It's not just any name. It's the name I've picked out for my baby. I feel like you're taking something really personal from me. Delilah, come on, don't be dramatic. It's just a name. There are tons of Cadens out there. It's not like it's exclusive to you or anything. That was it for me. I didn't know how to respond, so I just said, I'll talk to Derek about it. I hung up the phone, feeling a mix of anger and disbelief. I couldn't understand how Delilah, who was already a mother, could be so thoughtless. I get that people pick similar names, but to pick the exact same one that I had been planning for my child, that's just messed up. The more I thought about it, the more upset I became. I talked to Derek about it, and he was equally shocked. He thought it was beyond insensitive, but he also suggested we let it slide, thinking it might just be a phase. But I couldn't shake the feeling that Delilah had crossed a serious boundary. The next day, I called Delilah again. I needed to get this out in the open and tell her how I was feeling. It was time to stand up for my baby's name. Delilah, I need to talk to you about the name thing. I've been thinking about it, and honestly, I don't think it's okay for you to name your baby Caden. It feels like you're trying to steal something that's really important to me. Delilah, are you seriously still on this? It's just a name. You're acting like I'm taking your firstborn or something. Me. I get that it's just a name to you, but it's not just a name to me. It's my baby's name. I've been planning on this for years. It's not some random decision. Delilah, I get it. So now you think I'm trying to steal your baby's name. What are you? The name police? It's not like I'm trying to take something from you. You're being dramatic, honestly. The more Delilah spoke, the more I realized just how little she understood. This wasn't about a casual preference. This was about respect, boundaries, and recognizing that I had already made a decision for my child's identity. It wasn't about competition or ownership. It was about not being so selfish that you disregard someone else's feelings. Me, I just don't think it's right. I don't want to fight, but I can't just sit here and pretend like this doesn't bother me. You can't just take the name I've picked out for my son, Delilah. Well, I guess you're just gonna have to get over it. I'm naming my kid Caden, and that's final. It's a free world, I was stunned. I felt so invalidated at that moment. This wasn't just a trivial disagreement. It felt like Delilah was deliberately dismissing my feelings, and I couldn't handle it anymore. I started to cry. It felt ridiculous to cry over a name, but it wasn't just about that. It was about how she was treating me, how she had no regard for my emotions, and how she just didn't care. Me. I can't believe you're doing this. I really can't. This hurts, Delilah. It really hurts. Delilah, Please, don't turn on the waterworks now. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but I'm not changing my mind. And that was the moment I lost it. I was done trying to be a reasonable, understanding sister. I blurted out the words that had been bubbling under the surface for days. Me, you're such a narcissist. It's all about you, isn't it? You don't care about anyone else but yourself. I don't even recognize you anymore. Delilah. What did you just call me? Me. You heard me. You're a narcissist. You have no empathy for anyone but yourself. You're always taking and never giving a damn about how anyone else feels. Delilah. Wow, okay. So now I'm the villain in your story? You've got some nerve, I swear. The days that followed were an emotional roller coaster. Delilah didn't speak to me for a week after our conversation, and I was left stewing in my feelings of betrayal and confusion. I felt like I had done the right thing by standing up for myself, but at the same time, I felt guilty for calling her a narcissist. I mean, sure, it was dramatic, but it wasn't completely untrue, right? Our mom, who always tries to stay neutral, finally called me to see what was going on. She said Delilah had told her that I was being unreasonable and selfish. Of course, she didn't mention the part where Delilah completely disregarded my feelings. But whatever. I told my mom everything, and she was sympathetic. But I could tell she wasn't sure whose side to take. She made some neutral comments, like names can be so tricky, and maybe it's not such a big deal. But it was a big deal to me. Every time I thought about it, I felt more hurt and angry. Was I wrong for standing my ground? Should I have let Delilah have her way? Or did I have the right to call her out on her selfish behavior? At this point, I'm at a loss. I'm torn between wanting to protect my relationship with my sister and feeling like I need to stand up for myself and my son's identity. So, am I the a-hole for calling my sister a narcissist over her stealing my baby's name? I'm honestly just trying to figure out if I've completely lost it or if I have a right to be this upset.